Hello everyone, in this video let us learn how to hide a transition from a group in Jira. So there was a question on the community asked recently about is there a way to restrict users groups from seeing other users group task status. So if you read the question completely, you will understand that this user is asking about a situation where you have a workflow with different states, but you want to restrict who can transition to that particular state. So basically, when you have a different workflow, not really different workflow, but you have a workflow with the different uh, statuses, and you have transitions going from one status to another status. So those transitions and the label of that transition actually appears on the Jira issue. So when you look at, let us say, one of your or any of your Jira issue, you have the button on top or buttons on top, like assigned, verified, and when you have like more statuses or transitions to do, you will see those transition names here under the workflow drop down, like validated, open, approval, open, approved, or validate, and so on. So the question was all about hiding these statuses, or not really statuses, why I'm saying statuses, but hiding these transitions from a specific group, or the person who is part of a specific group should only see his or her relevant transitions. So doing this is actually not very difficult in Jira, and this question was asked for the cloud. So I will open my cloud instance, and if I go to my project settings, so there is an option here on the left hand side under the project sidebar. So when you are inside your project settings, you can go to the workflows, and when you go to the workflows, you can of course modify your workflow. Like in this case, I just have one workflow, so I'll click on the edit using the small pencil sign under the action. Now I have this workflow in a text mode. Let me open in diagram mode so that it looks slightly simple. So you have this workflow. In this case, it is a simplified workflow where we do have transitions, but you're basically free to do any transition, or basically you're free to reach any status from anywhere. So let us say if you click on one of your transition, like I want to control or restrict who can do this in progress transition. So when you click on it, you have some options that will appear on top under this pop-up called as properties, triggers, conditions, validators, and post functions. So in our case, we want to basically hide the transition altogether. So you can do that with the help of conditions. So basically, if the condition is not true, you or the person who is doing the transition on that particular issue will not see that button at all. So right now there is no condition, but if I click on, let us say, this button, add condition, you have different conditions to choose from, which is quite good because you can do slightly more on the cloud because you have more conditions to choose from as compared to the server version. So the condition that we are interested in is called user is in group. So if you select this condition, you can then click on the add button, and then you can select the group. Let us say I want only my, let us say, Jira core users maybe to do this transition. And when you do that, you will see a new condition added to your workflow. Now, very important when you are working on a workflow, and if you have done some change, publish the workflow, publish the draft because you were working on a draft of the workflow. And if you want to save a backup, I think it is a good idea to save a backup if you are not sure what you're doing, or maybe if you're doing some kind of testing, maybe you just want to be assured that you have a backup of a workflow so that you can revert it. So you can save a backup, but I'll not save a backup. So I'll just publish the workflow. And the moment you publish the workflow, you can basically start testing your condition. And doing this is actually quite simple, and it is basically with the help of a condition that you can restrict and control who can do uh, that particular transition. So in your case, or the person who is asking this question, he or she um, needs to basically add a few conditions in all the transitions that appear on the workflow or on the issue, and this is something that you can do quite easily, at least on the cloud, because you have a lot many conditions to choose from. And this is all I wanted to share in this video. I hope you enjoyed and you learned something new today. Thank you very much.